Okay, no problem. Well, I'm glad everybody could jump in. It's the strangest of times and phenomenally busy on my end of trials to another one starting in 3 weeks. So anyway, jumping on to issues. Were there minutes we needed to look at, Larry? I don't recall seeing them, but maybe there were and I just missed it.
I sent them to everybody before. But...
Tim, we can go up on the screen real fast. Let me go on the screen. Let's see. Let's go. If you go to West Point Society in Northern Nevada, and then you go down here and you click this, it'll bring up a PDF that can be printed off of the minutes if you can see those. I don't know if you can see them.
Okay. Yeah, if anybody has any. Yeah, I have like zero internet at the moment, so.
I mean, but the minutes are there if they want to print them off. If somebody wants, Larry.
Sure.
Okay.
Unless there's any comments on it, we will leave them as posted. Society Financial Report, Ed, I can access that because I happen to have that in a folder on my computer. I don't have any questions. You want to highlight anything on that one?
No, it's basically the same report as the last meeting, except use upon their cash balance increased by 500.
Hey.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ann.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in. I had asked for something to be put on the agenda, and it didn't make it, but this seems like the right time. I'm looking.
I have it in the draft. I'm sorry.
Okay, Larry. I was looking for some money to do some mailing, both for mailing envelopes and postage. That's kind of how I've been sending stuff out lately, because that's really all I can do. Mm-hmm. And so, we've got a big admissions reserve. I'd just like to go out and buy a bunch of mailing envelopes and then maybe just keep track of the postage and maybe once a month send something to Ed or every once a quarter, just to cover that cost.
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If something's peculiar, Ed, or strikes you as needing more consent or thought, you can always ping out an email to the rest of us. If not, and get what you need, have Ed reimburse you, and we should be good to go.
Great. Sounds good.
It's not surprising that our financial report hasn't changed since we haven't really done anything the last 8 months. Informational side, admissions, and that's got to be quite the challenge in an interesting environment.
It is, and I would say that our
Mike Scott just showed up.
Oh, okay, great.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. We're up to the admissions report. So admissions files open are down about 25%. Is what I would tell you. And that seems to be across the board for Navy and Air Force. I talked to some of those folks when I was doing interviews for Senator Cortez Masto, and they're all seeing a big decline. We did talk to some of the congressional reps about doing something with the high school counselors coming up. And so we'll look at getting something together to do something to generate some interest. It's very difficult right now. I can't get into the schools. I've sent some flyers out to counselors, but I have no idea what happens with those and whether they make it anywhere. I did submit a bunch of your names to the congressionals to sit on interview panels. Did any of you sit on any of the interview panels? Nobody. Well,
never got a follow-up.
Yeah, I kind of left it. I provided all those that volunteered your names and information to all 3 of the congressional reps, but they may have filled by then. So I did sit on Senator Cortez Masto's panel this past weekend, and now all the congressionals have completed their interviews. Amade did his in person, and then the 2 senators did theirs via Zoom, or WebEx, I guess is what we used. Other than that, you can see my report. That's kind of where we are. We have a couple of strong candidates. We're hoping for, I think we'll get at least one in. If he makes the military academy his first choice, but he's looking at Navy as well. Otherwise, it's going to be a rough year.
I assume what we're seeing is probably endemic across most of the nation.
I think so. And, I talked to a guy who sat on Senator Cortez Masto's panel last week from the Naval. He does some Naval Academy stuff, just a little bit. And he says, yeah, his numbers are way down. Also on that panel is a woman who teaches high school in Elko. And she says really the default position out there is UNR. And you really have to have a good counselor to go beyond that. So it does seem that's kind of where we are right now.
Okay.
If anybody has any thoughts on what we can do to generate more interest and more candidates, I'm open, but it's very limited is what I would say.
Have another football game like that, last one, that'll get interest.
all the events stuff, I'm open to ideas of what we may or may not do. I saw the Founders Day, the virtual issue. It looks like I got to, depending, I suppose, what the vaccine is and stuff in between now and then. I think it's very hard to, at this point, to plan a in person. We can pick a date and have our whole date, but whether we can actually pull that off or not, I think is somewhat questionable.
The way I look at it, and things are going, having an in-person one at the Tamarack Junction is out. But if we set up for a Zoom one, maybe using Bill's system here, we could get a speaker who could be at West Point and just have the people log in and do a thing like this, where you could get the thing. But I don't think you have to worry about points for distinguished society, because things are so screwed up. I don't think they're going to be able to even try and consider awarding a distinguished society for this year.
Yeah, it's such a smorgasbord, and every time we seem to kind of set something or do something, and I mean literally, even us. I was conducting a trial in the middle of it, in-person trial, federal court, only to have the lockdown order, and we pushed through, notwithstanding, because we had one more day to go, and then shuttered everything up. So it's just chaos a bit out there on what you can do and can't do. And I would be loath to put down deposits or have people do a lot of work towards it when we don't know. We may perhaps what we ought to consider is a board meeting in the first couple of weeks in January to visit the issue of where we're at. And then, because by that time, whatever's going to happen with the vaccine side of it, whatever's going to happen kind of in the, if you will, this winter window where we're seeing a higher spread in our community, expecting that we're going to.
Seems to me that January is just a little bit early for that. I don't think the vaccines, are going to be quite understood that early.
Yeah. I just think if we wait to late, I mean, we could do it late January, early Feb, but that only gives us about 6 weeks, but we would almost be in the position that we definitely would do it in a Zoom style, Jerry. And I'm not opposed to just saying that's what we're going to do. Kind of hold your date for this time, and we will give you more details to follow.
I'm good for everything.
I was on a call with Caleb this morning with the air races because they're asking where they're going to be next year for racing, and he kind of laid out, the state's expectations for how this is going to unfold with the vaccine factored in, and how that plays into changing behaviors and all that other stuff. And he was like, you might be okay in May or June with holding some larger events. But, right now they're running scenarios that take this out in some form for another 11 or 12 months before everything is back to quote unquote a new normal, assuming no new variables get introduced and there's a reasonable uptake on vaccine, people accept it and use it and things like that. So, events in March are, a little bit, iffy right now, face-to-face events, in his opinion.
Right. Well, do we want to kind of just pick a date and indicate it's going to be kind of a virtual event, and then circle back in January on planning for that?
Tim, right now I'm working with a group that does video and meetings. They're allowed to have 47 people at the Atlantis and 3 servers for 50 people in a room. And they're looking at a meeting next month, and then we broadcast it. We actually can do pretty good video, quality video. I would assume January, February, by the time it should get nothing but better. It was over 50 for a short period of time, but now it's back to 50 people in the room. I mean, unless you've had the shot and you're older, if you're over 80 and you haven't had the shot, you probably shouldn't be going to a meeting anywhere. But that's a possibility. We could do a hybrid of 50 people or 47 people and then have it on video, set up video systems. We could do that right now. I know that's feasible.
Yeah, I think that's my Rotary Club is kind of doing something like doing a hybrid.
So we have 50 people. We have 47 people. I'd like to see something like that, maybe.
You just have to pick.
We're losing you, Tim.
He's VoIPing. Yeah, he froze. So we could probably go on until Tim comes back online.
I think we would have trouble with 50 people, even if there was no coronavirus.
The minimum number I need is 38 people.
We would have trouble getting that with the coronavirus.
38 people? I think with the Parents Association, I could get them. If I could ask the parents and do some kind of a mutual thing, because I'm trying to figure out what we can do for the Parents Association too. I think I could get the 38 people. Minimum.
But
What's the cost? Well, I mean, you get the room.
It would be less. It would be about. It'd be about $40 a plate. $40 a plate at the Atlantis, and I can get really, really good video out of there too, and sound.
But if you do it with the Parents Association, then it's not really Founders Day.
Well, it'll still be Founders Day. We could ask them for support to come in. And I know of some Air Force folks who are grads. I've been trying to expand to start tracking the Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, Merchant Marine. Oops, got feedback there. So,
and we've invited the candidates in the past to Founders Day so that they get an idea of what's going on.
I could get 38 people.
I think we would get some candidates and their parents. I think we would not get any cadets because I don't think they're going to do a spring break.
No.
Yeah.
No, probably no cadets. Who knows? But I don't think so.
We might be able to get a few in virtually.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. I've been doing that now. We could put it up on the screen. I could actually have times. This is a commercial Zoom account right now that we're on.
I would say, that would be one way to do it.
That would be kind of fun. I think we should go with something. I think the Atlantis is the easiest place to do it because of the audio video systems.
You can control audio and stuff like that.
Video. I can get the stuff up here. I can get a cost. Why don't I get a cost?
Can you get us?
I'll get a full cost. I got a couple nonprofits I work with. We can piggyback onto we can either piggyback or take one of their slots to get the price down.
It should be a lot easier than to get a speaker from West Point that the speaker could be at West Point and come in.
That's a possibility too. It'd be nice to fly him out here, but it definitely could have the speaker come up live. That would be good. That's easy.
I was at a function at the Atlantis for 50 people last week. They used one of the ballrooms.
Yep.
They had tables for 10, but only had 4 people at each table.
Yep.
Had 3 servers, 47 people,
Yep.
and it went very nicely.
I'm actually videoing those for a couple nonprofits. So I'm very familiar with the process. Well, easy peasy. We could do it well. I think it'd be really nice.
Yeah, having said it'd be easy.
Yeah, if you want to get.
I mean, I do it.
I'll just throw in my opinion and shut up. I think we just got to put all this kind of stuff aside with love for about a year and spend all our time supporting use upon and supporting admissions and hope for the best.
I think we need to do something because either a joint use upon West Point Society or something. Because I was going to ask, we're not doing anything for these cadets for Christmas. We could buy something for them. The signs were nice this summer. And I raised $500. I'm going to get a couple hundred more dollars. These nonprofits I work for, because instead of charging them, I just ask them to make donations. If I don't, I just don't
know that we would get 50 in person. We might get a couple dozen.
I guarantee you we could get at least 38. I know of at least 10 parents. I know of a couple Air Force people and Navy people we could get. I'll just call up and ask them, hey, will you commit?
Well, if you want to get some pricing info,
here's your pricing
circulate it, Bill.
Here's your pricing info: $40 to $50 a plate, max.
Well, let's back up a second. We're talking about a Founder's Day, right?
Correct.
Okay, the reason we've added all this extra stuff on over the years, the cadets, their parents, the candidates, is in order to get a viable ceremony. You get at least 50, 55 people. I mean, if you have a bunch of everybody else except graduates, I don't think you call it Founder's Day.
Yeah.
Right.
Could you do a joint Founders Day, all association day or some association group? I understand what you're saying. Anyway, it can be done. I think we need something. I'm tired of not doing anything. I mean, it was nice, that little gathering we had with the signs, getting the signs out. That was nice. But we haven't done anything since for the cadets, midshipmen.
I'm in lieu of and I guess it's one that I'm probably definitely towards Jerry's side of the camp. It's not really a Founders Day if it's kind of an open call. At the same time, I don't mind participating or help supporting a use upon event that's in March, or that can be an all service academy kind of thing.
Service academy could do that.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd have any problem. We should go out and see how many people we can get commit ahead of time.
To what?
To an event. And we know we can do the events right now. We could do an event next month if we wanted to. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it if you're over a certain age right now until you get the vaccination. But the vaccination is going to be out too.
Why do we need to do an event?
Because
we're tired of.
Because groups go to hell in a handbag if you don't do something.
I find the word event, a little bit unsatisfactory and ambiguous. Please define what we're doing.
It would be either Founders Day or a joint use. All
Didn't sound like Founders Day to me.
Yeah, I don't see it as a Founders Day event. I don't think we can
don't think
pull
you
it
get 38
off.
people.
No, I'm in
Given the
agreement.
Go ahead, Ed.
I'm in agreement with Jerry. I could do something by Zoom, but I have no interest in a actual function.
Well, the vaccinations are going to be out in 2 to 3 weeks. They're going to start coming out, and most states are taking people over 80 will get them first, and then healthcare officials, and then down from there.
Mike, you talked to Caleb. When do you think you're going to get your vaccination?
I don't need one.
No, Mike.
I'm like,
Mike?
So Caleb, in the best case world, first of all, he said one of the problems is going to be, getting people confident that the vaccination is safe and it's going to work. I mean, there is that first, and then it's going to depend. They're kind of like, to assess that, they're collecting the numbers of people who have gotten flu shots this year as a proxy for people who will be inclined to get this vaccination. So, I mean, that's kind of their only data point, I guess. He said that, and what Bill said, the FDA is meeting on December 10th to look at Moderna and what's the other one?
Pfizer.
Yep, for their emergency authorization. And, the meeting, it could be a 1-day meeting, it could be a 3-day meeting or whatever. In the best case, sometime the week of the 10th, something gets approved, and then there's a deployment times and all those things kick in. So, you're on a 3-week time frame for the first vaccines getting distributed. He thinks that, most of that could unfold by, he said, May or June would be, I guess, what he called I don't think it's 100% deployment or, of the vaccine, but, the significant number. He also said that there will still be significant numbers of people that need to keep wearing masks, and it doesn't go away. It's not going to be gone in May or June.
No.
And right now their scenarios are telling them it's at least another close to 12 months before, you look at things going back to quote unquote normal, assuming no new variables creep in there. There's not a COVID-20 that mutates or who knows what could happen. And this was in the context of air races, which run their first event or their first their training event in early June. He said that there's probably a way to do that through pretty aggressive testing of the participants and distancing in classrooms and all that other stuff. And he was asked straight up if in September he thought there was a way to put 25,000 or 20,000 people in the grandstands to watch air races. And he thinks there is a path to that. But he said, I hope I'm not here 3 months from now with my hat in hand saying I was wrong. But his assessment, there's a pathway to air races in September. But it includes testing, masking, and vaccines.
I'm in the situation, I'm 81 years old, I have asthma. Even if I get the vaccine early, I'm not going to immediately rely on it. I'm going to wait and see what other experience vaccine takers have.
I think with all that.
And
Sorry, Ann, go ahead.
The vaccine, either of them require 2 doses a month apart. So no matter what you do, you got to push everything back because most people will not get it right at the month part. And then I heard Bill say 85, but that's not the cutoffs I've seen.
80.
We're talking significantly more people that are significantally younger than that.
Right, initially, but I think a lot of states, CDC is going to come up with, I think, 80 initially, 80 and over.
Okay, because I haven't seen that yet. And the last time I saw the data, they were talking elderly being in their 60s. You know,
no, it's substantially over that. I have friends, Defense Threat Reduction Agency and Civil Military Operations. They're going to be handling some of that. That's what I was in. That's what I used to do. I actually worked in pandemics, and that was one of our plans.
Well, they have announced.
So I watched this closely. They've already got the vaccinations front loaded to many states. In 3 weeks, you're going to see the first vaccinations going out.
Well, they have announced one thing that's fairly clear, that the first phase and phase 1 and 1A will be healthcare workers and senior people who are in long-term health facilities.
Yes.
Phase 2 is going to be teachers and so-called essential workers.
Yeah.
So us old regular old folks who are hanging in there right now probably won't even get it until March or April. That's just, that's just life.
You'll be lucky to get it by then, Jerry.
Yeah.
You'll be lucky to get it by then, quite frankly, in my opinion. Especially if it's the first vaccine that comes out, the Pfizer's. The storage requirements are such that they need minus 85 degrees facilities, and that's why they're being front loaded, because they have to create the facilities.
Yeah.
My personal take on any events like this before, the June timeframe is it's rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Well, right now, I'm just saying, if you wanted to, you could do 50 people today if you wanted to.
I understand what you're saying, Bill. But
so it's not that you can't do it.
No, it's a should you do it, and what's the point?
I agree. I get that's the question you have to ask.
They'll come.
Yeah.
And a lot won't yet.
Right.
You know what? All I'd say is, why don't we put out a questionnaire to see who would come and who wouldn't come?
Well, please define the event. I mean, is it just a dinner? Is it a dinner with a purpose?
It's got to
have an agenda. I could make up my mind if I knew what it was, but if it's just a dinner, I'd probably come. Just get out in a safe environment for a night.
Yeah.
Well, to streamline a little bit, because I hate to say I've got to jump on a whole nother set
no more in
of
January
this afternoon. Is to, if you want to put out a questionnaire, Bill, I don't have a problem with that. But before we commit to doing anything, why don't we schedule our Q1 board meeting for sometime like the last week of January, first week of February, because we'll have some better data points.
Yeah, and we can look at West Point too.
And we can see what West Point's doing the whole scenario. There's too much guesswork going on right now.
So I'm thinking if we shot even for 38 people at a Founders Day with the video and all that, I think that'd be kind of cool to have done that.
Well, if we get the responses back, one of the things before we send out the response, Bill, is do you wait till after the first or for a couple more weeks in December? I'm indifferent on.
I think
on
after
that,
Christmas you put the questionnaire out, because you got to focus on Christmas now. Everything.
The issue is, does anybody have a preference? The first week of January, last week of January, like the 25th, or the first week of February, starting the first for our next board meeting, and then we can review this.
Yeah, let's go late. What's the latest dates on Founders Day?
The latest dates.
What's the normal time frame on Founders Day?
You can have a Founders any time. Some of them go into April.
Okay.
Yeah, from early March to early April.
Before graduation.
So I guess from availability, Ed, and you're probably available because we're going to do it via Zoom again. So Ed and Larry, do you guys have a preference or anybody else last week of January, first week of February?
Fine with me.
Either of those works for me.
I'm okay with either.
All right, let me look at my schedule as I know it right now. One, that's good. How about How about Tuesday, February 2nd?
That works for me.
Okay, let's go with that. And we'll just table all these issues on any type of meeting stuff until then.
Tuesday, February 2nd.
Okay.
Good for me.
Okay. Yeah, put on your calendar. Bill, if you can line it up so we can have the Zoom at that point. We have the football and games coming up to watch them. If anybody wants to do Zoom, I frankly have no desire to go to a watch party, frankly, since I just traveled recently. I'm kind of self-quarantining, so.
Yeah, it's too, yeah.
None.
I think it's better not to now if you don't have to for a watch party.
Right.
I mean, you could do one. I helped the Republicans.
I wouldn't sponsor Zoom stuff. I've been on a couple of them. They are chaos kind of in motion unless you have a really strong controller. I think this year is another one that enjoy it from the home, from those you want to call up or harass via text or everything else, and enjoy it as you can. I don't think there's too much of an alternative for them. It'll be an interesting watching the game being played at West Point. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I assume they're going to bring the midshipmen up there and house them somehow.
I don't know if they are. I just watched the Navy game, and they didn't even bring their midshipmen to their own stadium.
The midshipmen will be bussed up and bussed back.
Kept on their side, segregated from the West Point.
On the same day?
Yeah. But the brigade of midshipmen will definitely be there.
Yeah.
Maybe the Corps should give them a brigade parade so they can see how to march. That's always helpful for them.
And incidentally, the Air Force game is going to be on the 19th of December at West Point.
Yeah, I saw that on the issue. I thought the Army Navy game was still set for the 12th.
Right.
Did they move it to?
It is,
yeah.
My youngest daughter is flying back on the 13th. The morning of the 13th.
She done with the semester then?
Yeah, they're doing their finals before the game. And then she flies back on the morning of the 13th. They're letting them out like early in the morning, which is nice to get the buses. She's like, get on a plane that afternoon at 1 o'clock. And then my older daughter wants to go see her boyfriend in Syracuse.
You mean there will be no cadets there for the Air Force game?
Apparently not.
Wow. Huh.
Hopefully the football team will show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they seem to on some games this year, and others not so much.
Yeah. So. They've got about 30 days off, and my youngest has to go back like 2 weeks early on January 4th because of diving, and they've had one virtual diving meet or two, and she came in second, by the way, on her on one of them, and for the women, and they're having their first face-to-face, a real in live diving meet, supposedly at Boston College away, I think next week. So they're doing something.
I don't have anything else.
The other thing too, for instance, the academy, they think a lot of cadets, they were testing to see if a cadet had COVID, and they've been testing to see now if a cadet has had it and carries the virus or whatever it is. And they're finding that a lot of cadets have been exposed and have had it, but have not had any symptoms. So that's kind of interesting.
It's nice to be young.
Yeah. No, I mean, they think 9 out of 10 have had it and have not had. This is just coming out. 9 out of 10 have caught it and not shown any symptoms.
Yep.
Right.
So kind of interesting.
Anything else for the good of the society before we close it up here?
Beat Navy, very good.
Beat Navy. Thanks everybody for your perseverance, and I know I've been a little. So Larry, I saw your message about trying to do one. I will try, but I just got slammed today, so jumping on. When do you need that by?
Everybody, please stay healthy.
If you can have it by Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, I'll make a note. I'll say the weekend.
Okay.
That'll be easier for me.
Hey,
If I can
I
jump
do
on
have
before,
one-
then I will.
I've got
We're
one
not
question.
going to be putting any information out for anybody could be doing anything right away.
Right. Yeah.
One quick question for the use upon just using all your brain power. If you have anything, send it my direction. I need to get with the parents more. Do we want to do anything for these cadets and midshipmen when they come home for Christmas? I mean, I've raised about $700 of cash. So if the signs are nice, anybody think anything? Bug? Like Happy COVID Christmas or whatever? I feel for my daughter. She's in B1 and all these upperclassmen can't leave post. Can you imagine being a fourth class cadet and having all these upperclassmen hanging out? She's doing well.
Nothing better to do.
Probably
Kaylee's
kind
a
of like
first
it was,
sergeant.
probably kind of like it was back in the 1870s.
Yeah, they're all stuck.
Did you say the 1980s?
Yeah, right. I don't know. I don't remember that. Do you?
Yeah. I remember trying to get over, not so successfully, but oh well.
I
Okay,
seem
well,
to
great.
have lost everybody.
I see you, Jerry.
Well,
You were there.
I got a download center that just showed up on my screen saying download a new Microsoft Outlook. So I don't know where that came from. It just appeared. It appeared.
Well, it was good to see everybody's faces, and as Bill was saying, or Larry and Jerry, and I think everybody else is, stay healthy. I like the Nora O'Donnell one, be positive, test negative. And enjoy your holidays. If anybody needs anything, don't hesitate to kind of reach out. We can do what we can try to do, and just be safe. And I'll see you all on the 2nd if I don't talk to you before. Other than Larry, I'll talk.
Company I is commanded by Cadet Captain Blake Watson from Clover,
right.
South
Bye,
Carolina.
everybody.
The first sergeant is Cadet First Sergeant Kaylee Conrad from Reno, Nevada. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army song, The Army Goes Rolling Along. Please feel free to sing along as it is played. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's review. Thank you for attending and enjoy the rest of your evening.